Hey, my name is Sydney, and today we are talking about where I get all my books from. I wanted to make this video pretty early on because I recognize that this is not the norm, and I realize that there's a lot of privilege in being able to own so many books, and especially all at one time. If your dream is to have this kind of at-home library and own this many books, but you've never worked with any kind of publishing campaign or a PR agency or anything like that, then I'm here to tell you, me neither. I have never been gifted any books from any publishers or any companies or any authors or anything of the sort. I've gotten all of these books myself, or they are gifted to me by my own personal family and friends. That might change in the future, and that'd be great if it does, but right now where I'm sitting at owning 696 books, that is not the case. So if you don't want to work with companies, I am going to tell you today exactly how I acquired all of these books and how you can get them too. Something else I want to make really clear from the beginning is that I am not made of money. I am self-employed, and a lot of my paycheck goes back into my business, but into my day-to-day life and into travel. So I actually don't spend a ton of money on books, which I'm sure is kind of surprising. So I just want you to know that if you are balling on a budget out here, me too, I got you. I've been tracking every book I read, every book I own, and a lot more bookish statistics in a rating spreadsheet that I've been building for the past few years, and I'm so excited. I love that thing. I use it every single day, and this is where I'm getting all my statistics from. So of the 696 books that I own, I have data of when and how I got them for 528 of them, which is exactly 75%. The other 25% I just either got too long ago and I don't remember how I got them, or I just have no data on them for some reason. So I will not be including that 25% in today's statistics, but rest assured, I'm almost certain that most of it was gotten before 2020 and either for free or reduced price. So for today's video, let's just pretend that I have 528 books, which is still quite a lot. There are 4 categories we're gonna go over today: free, reduced price, chains, but I have a discount because I'm a member, and then paid full price for. Within each of these categories, I have exactly how I got these books and why they attribute to that category, as well as exactly how many there are and what percentage of my overall that includes. So we're gonna go backwards from how I spent the most money to how I spent the least money, aka free. Under the full price category, I have US independent bookstores, international independent bookstores, and Illumicrate. Starting with my most expensive of the bunch are gonna be these 8 Illumicrate books that I have right here. I've been on their subscription for about a year now, and I'm really loving it. They are extremely expensive, so I'm not sure how much longer I'll stay with them, but they are really pretty books, and they're definitely the most expensive ones I have out here. With 8 books, they make up 1.5% of my overall books owned. Next, I have 23 books that I bought from independent bookstores abroad. This accounts for 4.3% of my books owned, and they were all bought at full price, sometimes more expensive depending on the location, sometimes compared to the US a little bit less expensive, but overall they are all just beautiful books. One of which being this cloth-bound classic that you could find at other bookstores, but I got this at a very special bookshop in Porto. Another of which being this Scottish folk and fairy tales books that I absolutely adore, and I found it at this cute little independent bookstore while we were out on a tour. I love getting books while I'm abroad because not only do I just absolutely love them, but they are great souvenirs. And actually, I think the very first abroad book that I got from an independent bookstore was this beautiful version of The Hobbit that I got from Shakespeare & Co. in 2016 on a family vacation. And lastly, on the full price category, I have independent bookstores in the US. I travel around the US quite a lot in my car, and I make it a point to stop at as many independent bookstores as I can because I love visiting them. You can see a ton of videos on these in my TikTok, and I'm also going to give you guys a tour of my bookshop map, which includes books from all over the world and all over the US. It includes books from independent bookstores, used bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, everything you can think of is going to be on that map. So there are 39 books in that category, which makes up 7.4% of independent bookstores. So full price from independent bookstores, that is 70 books, which makes up 13.3% of my total books owned that I paid full price for. The next category is chains with discounts. First, I'm just going to throw in that there are 2 books from Amazon on here, which make up 0.4% of my books. I got them years ago for college. I don't even know which ones they are at this point. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet for them. Next are the 3 heavy hitters. I have Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, and Books A Million. I am a member to all 3 of these places, and they often include discounts for online and in-person purchases. They include access to 25% pre-orders, which is quite a lot for my Barnes & Noble, and a lot of it is collecting stamps, like for however many dollars you spend, you get this many dollars back. So I include them in the full price but with a discount category because there's no way I will ever pay full price for any of these. I absolutely take advantage of the membership benefits. So this includes 22 books from Books A Million, which is 4.2%, 48 books from Waterstones, which is 9.1%. I love Waterstones. And 51 books, which is 9.6% from Barnes & Noble. In total, this category makes up 123 of my books, which is 23.3%. So full-priced books, or almost full-priced, makes up just over a third of all the books I own. Next is the reduced price category, and this is all going to be books that are $5 or less. So first is going to be used bookstores, and I normally will never buy a used book if it's more than $5. So in this category, I have 67 books, which makes up 12.7%. And then from thrift stores like Goodwill, I have gotten 31 books, which makes up 5.9%. And then a few times a year, my local library has a used book sale in which all of the books are $1 and the money goes entirely back to the library. So I love going every time they open up so I can not only get a ton of books for very cheap, but I can also support my library. And right now I have 61 books from that, which makes up 11.5% of my books. And lastly, in this category, I have a huge discount bookstore near me called the Green Valley Book Fair, and I own 18 books from them, which makes up 3.4% of my books. In total, this reduced price section is 177 of my books, which makes up 33.5%. So over a third of my books have come for $5 or less, a vast majority of them about $1. And lastly, in the most exciting category, the free category. These are obviously my favorite ways to get books. So firstly, in the free category, there were 47 that were gifted to me, which makes up 8.9%. I haven't been gifted books in a while, but most of them have come from over the years, from Christmases and birthdays, and just because I'm thinking of you kind of gifts. Next, my library has these book bins outside that are always like, please take these books. They're usually mass paperbacks, and I own 3 of these right now. I usually read them, then put them in little free libraries. So right now I have 3, and that makes up 0.6% of my books. And then my mom has a book media room in her apartment building, so every time I go, I like to look through the books, and they're entirely free. And the lady that runs it loves me. She's like an octogenarian, and she's like, take all the books. And I'm like, okay. So right now I own 13 of those, which makes up 2.5% of my books. And lastly, my favorite way to find books are from little free libraries. And currently I own 95% of these books, which makes up a total of 18% of my books from little free libraries. I have tons of videos from little free library hunting days around the country and around the world over on my TikTok. Definitely go look at them. I love exploring a city by going through its little free libraries. I love using the website, and it will show me the whole map of where you can find all these little free libraries. So I go to a new city and I go, yeah, today's the day. This is how I'm going to explore. I get in my car and that's how I see the city. I love it. So for the free category, that is 158 books, which makes up 29.9%. Now, what makes this even better is that I just moved into this new apartment, and once I went through all my books, I actually unhauled about 50, and every single one of them except for one I got either for free or for reduced price. So before this big unhaul, I actually had over 20% of my books coming from little free libraries, and well more than a third were free. So without working with publishers, without working with authors or anything like that, this is how I've gotten all of my books, mostly for free or reduced price with a few full price in there. I hope this inspires you into finding alternatives for finding out books, and just knowing that you don't have to pay full price to be a reader. And before I forget, your best friend is going to be your local library. I have read dozens upon dozens, at this point maybe even hundreds or thousands of books from my local libraries, either by checking out physical books or using their Libby system to get books right to my Kindle, or for Libby audio. There are so many free and used and cheap books out there. You don't have to pay full price if you're balling on a budget or you just want to save some money. I hope that kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit into realizing that not everyone that has books like these are millionaires and are buying all these books brand new. You don't have to be rich to own books. Although it is a major privilege to be able to own this many books, I hope you are on your way to owning your own little library. I'll see you next time.